Bolt is kind of weird right now. Supercell nerfed him, then nerfed him again, and somehow he is still sitting at number 1 in Brawl HQ's pro-only ranked data with about a 58% win rate. And when I first saw that, I thought, maybe this was just one of those weird stat things where nobody is playing the Brawler. So 5 Bolt mains are basically carrying the whole percentage. But then I looked a little deeper. And yeah, people are not exactly spamming him. His high ranked pick rate is only around 1%. But that is what actually makes this more interesting, because Bolt is sitting around 59% through Mythic Plus, basically the same through Legendary Plus, still almost 59 in Masters Plus, and then about 58% when you get specifically to Pro. So as the players get better, Bolt is not suddenly falling apart. He is still winning, a lot. And then I checked actual esports, because Pro Rank and Professional Brawl Stars are obviously not the same thing. This is where it gets really good. August 8th, East Asia Monthly Final in Tokyo. This is an actual proper tournament with Crazy Raccoon, Zeta, Fennel, guys like Tensai, Moya, Milk Rio, Saidatampo, Achapi, basically people who understand Brawl Stars at a level I am never going to pretend I do. Crazy Raccoon ended up winning the whole thing. Tensai got Grand Final MVP. Bolt picked once, one game. So you could look at that and go, alright, nobody cares about Bolt anymore except he won that game. And even better, he got globally banned 6 times. 6. That is much more interesting to me than somebody just picking him 10 times. Because these teams had a chance to play against Bolt, and on 6 occasions, somebody basically went, nah, remove him before we even start. I am not saying Tensai personally wakes up scared of Bolt or anything, but clearly at that level, teams still respect what this brawler can do in the right draft. And I think those two things together explain Bolt better than just calling him S tier. He is not necessarily this brawler you first pick every single game. He seems more like the brawler where if the draft gets to a certain point and nobody has dealt with him yet, somebody picks Bolt and suddenly everyone remembers why they hated this guy 2 months ago. Because Bolt on release was ridiculous. Supercell basically admitted that themselves. His maximum main attack damage used to be 900. They cut that to 760. His super trail went the other direction, from 550 to 700, because they wanted more of his damage to come from actually committing to the super instead of just rolling into the map and deleting somebody immediately, which honestly I think is way better. If you are going to drive a toy car directly into 3 people, at least there should be some decision making involved. They also reduced how much his super charges itself, and Unstoppable used to give him crowd control immunity during his super plus another 15% top speed. That was stupid. Now the crowd control immunity only lasts for 1 second after he activates the super. Way more reasonable. Then August comes around and Supercell goes after him again. Super shield, 40% down to 30. Super charge from simply moving, reduced by 23%. That second nerf is the one I find really interesting, because they are not just changing damage anymore, they are attacking the thing Bolt does by existing, moving. And that is where I think the real Bolt problem is, because if you have never actually looked properly at how his kit works, it is kind of stupid how much value is connected to speed. Bolt's trait makes him faster while he keeps moving. His main attack gives him speed. His rolling damage gets stronger the faster he is going. His oil change gadget gives him a shield based on his current speed, then his super gives him more speed and damage reduction while leaving damage behind him. So you are rewarded for moving, and then moving makes the next thing stronger. And then that stronger thing lets you keep moving. And now we have built a small yellow nightmare. That is why I do not think you can understand Bolt by looking at his damage stat. Supercell can reduce 760 to 700 tomorrow. Cool. But if Bolt can still reach somewhere another tank cannot reach, survive when he gets there, force you backwards, take space, and keep enough momentum to do it again, he is still getting value that never appears in the damage number. And pros care about that stuff way more than most of us do. I am looking at the scoreboard like, nice, 12,000 damage. They are looking at whether one brawler made the other team give up half the map for 20 seconds. Very different game. And there is another little Bolt mechanic that I think explains why good players get more out of him. His bouncy ball gadget lets him jump to a location, damage the area, and break terrain, but when he lands, he loses all his speed. That sounds like one tiny detail. It is not, because speed is basically Bolt's bank account. So using bouncy ball at a bad time can save you from one situation and completely ruin the next one. You have to rebuild all that momentum. Oil change is almost the opposite. It rewards you for already having momentum because the shield is based on how fast Bolt currently is. So even his gadgets are asking you a bigger question than just, which button saves me here? One lets you escape or break terrain but cashes out your speed. The other becomes stronger when you have managed your speed properly. That is nerdy as hell, I know, but I think that is exactly why looking at what good players are doing is more useful than just saying Bolt has high damage. Because there are tiny trade-offs in this brawler that regular, ranked players, me included, can completely ignore. And the map numbers make this even stranger. In Brawl HQ's current samples, Bolt has been putting up around 70% on Flaring Phoenix in Knockout, around 70 on Crystal Arcade in Gem Grab, and over 70 on Goalies in Brawl Ball. Those percentages will obviously move as more games come in. I would not tattoo 73% Bolt win rate on your arm, but the pattern matters. The good Bolt maps are really good Bolt maps, which probably explains part of that 1% pick rate. People are not using him everywhere. The places where they are choosing him seem to suit him extremely well, and that changes the whole conversation. Because if Bolt had a 58% pro win rate while being picked constantly on every map, I would just say, yeah, nerf this thing again. Simple. But low usage plus a crazy win rate plus tournament bans makes me think something else is happening. High-level players might just be really good at knowing when Bolt is disgusting, and that is honestly more dangerous than a brawler who is obviously broken everywhere, because everybody bans the obvious broken brawler. A specialist can sneak through. You spend the draft worrying about whatever is currently being first picked every game, then suddenly the other team sees one lane, one matchup, one map interaction that you missed. Bolt comes out. And now you have 2 minutes to think about your mistakes. Then there is the Hypercharge. Bowling Bolt destroys every wall while his Hyper Super is active. I feel like people do not talk about how funny that is. You have this brawler whose entire identity is basically, I would like to move very fast. And one of the things stopping him from moving very fast is the map. So his Hypercharge starts deleting the map. Fair enough, bro. That also means a matchup against Bolt can literally change halfway through. Maybe a wall is protecting you early. Maybe that wall is the reason Bolt cannot get a clean angle. Then Hypercharge arrives, wall disappears, and now the geometry of the match is completely different. And again, you are not going to see that by saying his main attack does 760. This is why I think Bolt is one of those brawlers where the kit itself might always be difficult to balance. Supercell has already gone after damage. They have gone after super cycling. They have gone after his shield. They have gone after his crowd control immunity. They have gone after the free supercharge he gets from moving, and he is still sitting at the top of the pro-only ranked sample. At some point you start asking, okay, what is actually left? Speed. And I do not think they really want to touch that too hard, because then what is Bolt? That is the whole brawler. He is supposed to feel like this stupid little race car that gets faster and faster until somebody regrets standing in the wrong place. Take too much of that away, and yeah, congratulations, Bolt is balanced, he is also boring. I think that is probably the line Supercell is trying to find right now, and maybe they are actually getting closer, because the competitive numbers do not look like release Bolt anymore. At that August East Asia final, some brawlers were everywhere. Surge was picked 5 times and had 16 bans. Bolt got 1 pick and 6 bans. So no, I do not think professional teams currently believe Bolt is the best brawler in the entire game. That would be stretching the numbers, but they clearly have not forgotten him either. And I actually prefer that story, because Bolt is broken is boring. Everybody can say that. What is interesting is that Bolt has been repeatedly nerfed, barely gets picked in one of the biggest recent East Asian tournaments, still gets globally banned 6 times, and at the same time he is number 1 in current pro rank data. Those facts should not really fit together, but they do, and I think the answer is pretty simple. Bolt is not amazing everywhere. Bolt is amazing when somebody who knows exactly what they are doing gets the right Bolt game. And maybe that is the version of Bolt Supercell actually wants. Strong identity, clear weaknesses. Really nasty when the draft lines up. I am fine with that. What I am not sure about is whether 58% in pro is still a little too nasty. Maybe it is. Maybe we look again next month and he has dropped completely. That is the fun part, because this meta moves ridiculously fast. But right now, after all those nerfs, Bolt is still there. And I think the next time Supercell touches him will tell us a lot. If they nerf another number, maybe they still think there is room to trim the kit. If they finally go after the speed itself, then yeah, we probably found the thing they were trying not to touch this whole time.